Hi, I'm Jono. Welcome to a Lunatone application video. In this video, we'll cover the CS sensor and how to synchronize this sensor with other CS sensors on a DALI line, so that multiple sensors can control the same luminaise. The DALI 2 CS is a multi-sensor module used in DALI and DALI 2 lighting systems. It combines motion detection, light intensity, and lighting control into a single unit. The DALI 2 CS THP AQ sensor is a 6-in-1 sensor designed for DALI and DALI 2 systems. It captures motion, light intensity, temperature, humidity, air pressure, and air quality. Both the CS sensor and the CS THP AQ sensor can be part of the same system and can be set up in either application controller mode or in instance mode, making it suitable for standalone control or integration into building management systems. Both the CS and the AQ sensors support 4 operating modes: motion-triggered lighting, motion and constant light control only, and light threshold triggering. I will build a test setup with one CS sensor and one AQ sensor, as well as an LED dimmer. This way we can see what these sensors do when they react to a changing environment. If you have not seen my example setup video where I go through how to access devices on a DALI line, you will need to first address the devices using the Lunatone DALI Cockpit. Instructions on how this can be done can be found in my example DALI instruction video, which I will link here. Configuration is done through Lunatone's DALI Cockpit tool. This allows you to set the expected behavior and actions, sync multiple sensors across a DALI line, define actions of on motion and actions of on light threshold, adjust nuanced alternative behaviors and activation mechanisms, and, most importantly, set the operating mode, either application controller mode or instance mode. Now that we have a full understanding of the technical details, let's get into the commissioning of the system. Let's set the situation. I have 2 sensors inside of an office space, and this space is large enough that one sensor will not be enough. I want both sensors to control the same luminaire. As such, one of these sensors must be set into application controller mode and synchronized with the sensor in instance mode. I will complete the synchronization in the next chapter. For now, in the General tab for both sensors, select the switch on red LED when moving, so that we can see if a sensor detects movement. Next, in the sensor mode, select application controller mode for one of the sensors. Then, we can select the operation mode. I would like specific lights to turn on when motion is detected, and for the lights to dim to a lower level when no movement is detected after some time. Therefore, I will select Motion Control. Next, we can click on the Motion Control tab. Here we can select the commands the sensor will send out to the devices. In the Movement State section, I will select the Light Level DAP command and set that value to 80%. I will also add a fade time of 1.4 seconds. The hold time for the sensor is how long the sensors will wait before moving to the next state. For testing, I will put this to 10 seconds. Now that we have completed the on-motion detection section, let's move to the vacant section. Here, I will put a light level of 10% with a fade time of 2 seconds. If movement is detected while in this state, the sensor will swap back to the movement state and the lights will begin fading back up to 80%. However, if we wanted to turn the lights off, we can instead set the sensor to turn the lights off by changing the vacant state command to light level 0%. Next, I want to synchronize these sensors together. One sensor will be in application controller mode and the other in instance mode. Note, it is not required for sensors to be in instance mode. Lunatone devices allow for multiple application controllers on one DALI line, as long as they do not control the same effective range. Meaning, you can have multiple sensors in application controller mode and the system will still work. Setting a sensor into instance mode stops any potential double commands from being sent on the line. For example, if both sensors are in application controller mode, if one sensor sees movement and another does not, there is a possibility for one sensor to send an off command while the other sends an on command. When the sensors are put into instance mode, the secondary sensors can work with the same motion sequence profile from the application controller sensor, meaning one sensor can prolong the on state with motion detected from a different sensor. Also, synchronizing the sensors makes it so that there is only one sensor that requires commissioning to control the whole DALI line. While multiple master sensors can share a DALI line, using more than one in the same area may cause unwanted behavior. Therefore, one sensor should be the controller and others set as instances. This prevents conflicting on-off commands and keeps all sensors on the same motion profile. In each selection, I'll make sure that the main sensor, also known as own address, and any secondary sensors are selected. When doing this and clicking the Save button at the top, the application controller will automatically set the correct instance configuration of the secondary sensor. It will, however, not enable instance event messages. These have to be enabled manually on the secondary sensor. If you wanted to manually enable the instance mode of a sensor so that it will automatically communicate on the DALI line, first you have to set the sensor to instance mode on the General tab. Then click on the Instance tab and confirm all event messages that we want to be sent on the DALI line. Click on the drop-down and go through each message type and enable event messages for the type of message you want this sensor to report on the DALI line. Double-check the schema and set it to the device addressing schema, else the event messages may not be recognized. In instance mode, the sensors output event messages for each environmental value. These event messages can be read by other sensors, and it is also how third-party devices and building management systems receive updates from sensors. The AQ sensor allows you to set commands that trigger when specific air quality thresholds are reached. Separate tabs are available for temperature, humidity, pressure, and air quality, each with a threshold option that can be enabled. Once active, the sensors will monitor the selected value, and when it rises above or falls below the defined limit, a DALI command is executed. For example, if the temperature exceeds a certain point, the lumen in the system are switched to a specific scene or can be turned off entirely. If a DALI relay is added to the system, a ventilation system or signal lights could be triggered instead. Similar actions can be configured for all measured air quality values. However, we find that there might be an issue. What if we want to leave the lights on the entire time without having to trigger movement? We can add a push button to our system so that we can manually control the system. Luckily, I have one here that is already commissioned with an on-off toggle for our LED. Under the Effective Range tab, we can select an external control address, and we can set the behavior of the sensor in the case an external command is received. For external on commands, I have set external control disable sensor control, and for external off commands, I have set waiting for motion activate sensor control. With this, we can use our push buttons to both turn on and off our lights, but also to control whether the sensor is active or not. Now, using the push button, we can turn our lights on and they will stay on for as long as we want. And once we are done and want automatic control again, we can turn the lights off using the push button and the sensors will take over. While there are many more complex interactions we could create, this is the most common use case with these sensors. Other setups include constant light control throughout the day, where sensors automatically dim or brighten lights to predetermined levels to maintain a specific brightness within the controlled area. Brightness thresholds can determine if switching on lights is even necessary if the room is already bright enough. Scene switching and alternate modes can be commissioned into the CS sensor so that if a scene command is sent, the sensor behavior could completely change. The DALI 2 CS is a true all-in-one module, great for office lighting, smart classrooms, warehouses, and industrial installations. Thanks for watching. For more videos like this, check out our YouTube channel or visit our website.